For those of you who are just popping in, for setup, if you can lie down a yoga mat or a beach towel, or even just a space on your carpet, you just need some room to be able to lie down and stretch out. If you have a small towel or even a t-shirt, grab that. We're going to use it just for stretching, so it doesn't have to be anything special. And if you want a small pillow, if you know when you lay down on the mat that you need support for your head or neck, you can have a small pillow nearby as well. Also, I will be providing some live feedback on your form. So if you guys can make sure that I can see you with your setup, that would be great. That way I can monitor your form and just give you adjustments as needed. It's also helpful if you rename your screen to your first name so that I can call on you. And you do so with the 3 dots on the top right hand corner of your box.
Okay, hi everyone. Looks like it's time to get started. So hi, thank you all for joining. We're excited to have you. I'm Oye from NextJump, and I'll be moderating today's session of back pain taught by Ali. So Ali is our wonderful instructor here. She's a doctor of physical therapy and nationally certified Pilates instructor through the Polestar program. She has been practicing physical therapy for 5 years in Boston. And just a super surface level idea of this class, Ali's going to introduce this class and explain to you what this class is about and how this class will help you with your back pains. I know we're all experiencing this as we work from home, myself included, staring at the computer all day. So I hope this class is super helpful for you. Before we get started, I'd like to share a few tips to help ensure an engaging experience for all of us. If your real first name isn't visible under your face, please hover your mouse in your frame and click on the 3 dots and select rename. This will help us engage with you better. And as Ali mentioned, she can call on you and assist you with your form throughout the session. Also, feel free to change your view if it isn't set up to gallery view. That way you can see the entire community here with you and engage with them as well. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand physically, or you can also use the raise hand feature in the chat to call my attention. If you cannot hear properly, feel free to use the signal to make the signal that you cannot hear. And also we can clap virtually sometimes using this signal, the virtual clap. Okay, so with that, I will hand this over to Ali and she will start the session with you.
Hi guys, thanks for joining today. I'm calling in from Boston. So I'm happy to see everybody's faces. And this is a 30-minute program on neck and shoulder pain. And I know it's something we've all been experiencing a little bit more of, being kind of poured over our computers, working from home with our less than ergonomic setup. So our class is going to be mostly movement based. We will spend a little bit of time at the end talking about some ergonomic considerations. And I will also leave some time for Q&A if you guys have specific questions. I do want to preface the class by saying that everything we do today is optional. It should feel good for your body. And so if something doesn't feel right, don't do it. I'm going to provide a number of modifications. So please take those, but also feel free to take a rest if something isn't right for you. So have a small towel or t-shirt nearby. We're going to use that a little bit farther into class. And then we'll start with gentle feet on your mat. And so if you feel uncomfortable sitting cross-legged, you can grab a pillow and sit up on a pillow, but just find a position where you can sit comfortably down on your mat. So I'm going to join you guys back here on my mat. Any leg position is fine. I'm actually going to turn from the side so you guys can see my movement a little bit better. So all we're going to start with is a gentle rock forward and a gentle lean back. And we're doing this rocking so that you can find your center of balance. So if you notice the bony parts of your bottom, the sits bones, notice how as you rock forward, you come off them. As you rock backwards, you actually fall off them as well. So see if you can now settle somewhere right in the middle where your shoulders fall directly over your hips. So a lot of times we have spent time with our shoulders in front of our hips. See if you can find your tall posture with your shoulders right over your hip joint. From here, you're gonna let your hands fall down onto your knees and start to gently roll your shoulders. I'll turn this way now, up and down. And we're gonna go in both directions, so there's no correct way. And roll your shoulders up by your ears and down away from your back. So we're just starting to introduce a little bit of gentle movement. You might find some crunching or clicking in your shoulders. That's okay, just to notice it. If it's painful, back off and make it a slightly smaller range of motion. We're going to change direction of those circles. The same thing, circling in the other direction. And chances are your body naturally picked the easier direction first. This one might feel a little bit funnier. It might feel like you're a little bit, that's okay. Just gently work within your comfortable range. Notice if as you started to circle, you started to find that rounded posture again. Stay tall, letting just your shoulders move here. We'll do 3 more. Last 2. And last time, and then just let your shoulders hang down naturally, comfortably. We're gonna focus in on our breathing for just a moment. So our breathing has 3 dimensions. We can breathe down low in our belly, front to back. We can breathe out wide to the side, and then we can breathe up and down. This up and down pattern of breathing is for us in situations of exertion. So when our body is working overtime, we're in the 20th mile of our marathon. That's when that kind of breathing comes into play. But often when we spend seated in these postures, we're constricted in other areas. So we end up breathing up high in our shoulders. And it is one cause of extra tension around our neck and shoulders. I want you guys to just take a moment and notice your breath. If you are feeling your shoulders rise with each breath, see if you can find heaviness across the front of your shoulders. And maybe you even bring your hands to your belly to see if you can invite the air down a little bit lower into your belly. Maybe you even bring your hands to the sides and see if you can invite some of your breath into your side waist. And as you breathe here, maybe you feel a letting go of those muscles in your neck. You feel a sinking and a heaviness across the shoulders. Try taking breaths in through your nose and breaths out through your mouth. Breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your mouth. Try one more breath like that at your own pace. Good. Okay. So we're going to start with our first exercise today, which is a shoulder exercise. It's called a scapular clock. And these muscles that we work in this shoulder exercise are postural muscles. They're the muscles that kind of hold our shoulders back so we're not spent rounding forward. So they give us that support. Now, as we do this exercise, while it is a shoulder exercise, I want you to be aware of your posture in the rest of your body. So you can almost pretend right now like you're sitting up against a wall. So with the scapular clock, it starts by squeezing your shoulder blades together towards one another. You then pull the shoulder blades down like you're tapping 6 o'clock on a clock, pull the shoulder blades apart like you're tapping 9 o'clock, and lift the shoulder blades up like you're reaching for 12 o'clock. You bring the shoulder blades down and together like you're reaching for 3 o'clock, down to 6 like you're reaching the bottom of the clock, wide out to the side like you're reaching for 9 o'clock, and up high like you're reaching the very top of the clock like 12. You're going to keep moving through that sequence, going around the clock with both of your shoulder blades. And if anybody's confused here, I know this can be a funny analogy, go ahead and raise your hand. But as we work through these movements of the shoulder blades, notice if the rest of your body is also starting to rock front to back. It's a pretty small movement when we limit the movement of our spine. So I'm actually doing my little scapular clocks here, and you probably really can't see that movement because it is so subtle. I'm going to come up to the screen so I can show you guys. If you imagine these are your shoulder blades on your back, they go together, down, open, and up. Together, down, open, and up. So it's really gentle, it's very small, and you may find one of your shoulder blades feels like, ooh, I can't move that one the same way as I can the other. That's normal. We have a dominant arm. That arm tends to be more flexible than our strong arm that we use to carry everything. So just notice it and take note of that for now. Awesome. So you guys can take a little rest. The reason I show you the scapular clock first is because it's an awesome exercise that you can come back to throughout your day. So if you're sitting at your desk and you're saying, oh, I think that my posture's not good, things aren't feeling good, come back to your clock. It helps you to bring awareness to how your shoulder blades are moving, how they're positioned on your back. That sort of 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock positioned down and together help us to hold that good posture. So keep that in mind. We're going to grab our towels next to use it for a little bit of light stretching. So what I'm doing is taking my towel and just rolling it up to make a roll that's about, I'm going to say 6 to 8 inches in length. This isn't an exact science. I'm going to show you guys here. It's just a dish towel roll. Like I said, if you need to use a t-shirt, something along those lines, we're going to end up putting this roll right in our upper back. So if you can imagine that space right between our shoulder blades, that's where the roll is going to go. So what we're going to do now is take that roll, lay it down on the floor, and you're going to lie down so that that space right between your shoulder blades falls onto the roll. Now, if resting your head on the floor from that position feels really uncomfortable for your neck, you're going to also put a pillow on your neck, underneath your neck. Now, if your lower back doesn't like this, you can bend your knees in close towards your bottom. And we're just going to start lying here for a moment. You may already feel a little stretch across your chest being in this position. Having that little towel under your back is pushing your thoracic spine, your upper back, into extension, so up towards the ceiling. And our upper back is often in a lot of flexion. So this can be kind of tight just to be. Now, as you start to settle into this posture, you're going to allow your arms to open up flat onto the mat with your palms up towards the ceiling. If you feel any tension or tingling into your fingers, bend your elbows a little bit. But right off the bat, you will start to feel a light stretch across your chest. Now, if you're not feeling that stretch, start to walk your hands up a little bit higher towards your shoulders or maybe even up towards your ears. And just breathe. This is a very opening position and our body can sometimes respond with emotion here. Take your time and settle in gently to this space. Now you may also find that your rib cage is lifting off the mat and you're starting to feel it in your lower back. Start to draw your rib cage down, and that's your bottom ribs. You're thinking like the very bottom of the flare of your ribs. Draw that down, and you may actually feel an increase in the stretch across your chest. So just gentle, breathe here. Let go of the tension in your face, in your neck, in your jaw. And if you feel comfortable, this is just an option. You can start to draw what I like to call a snow angel. So you're going to keep your hands down on the floor as long as you can. So you might find as soon as you open your arms over your shoulder height, they lift off the floor. That means you've gone a little too far. You're going to reach your arms back as far as you can go until they maybe even reach behind you. Now I have pretty flexible shoulders, so your range of motion may not look the same, and that's okay. And you're just gently moving in this posture. Sometimes our body likes to warm up into a stretch with movement before just holding a stretch in a static position. I'm going to have you guys continue. I'm just going to hop up to take a quick peek at form. Good. to add a small tuck to your chin, think lengthening the back of the neck. And I can't see all of your heads, but if you're feeling like your chin is tipped up to the ceiling, try and draw your chin down to create length in the back of your neck. We'll do one more time here, and then we're going to just pause in a comfortable position and hold. In this position, try and take those wide rib cage breaths again. So big opening up of the chest and exhaling out. A lot of the times when we feel shoulder pain that is related to posture, it's because our shoulders are put under a lot of stress when we spend time rounded forward. This is the opposite of that posture. So if you're ever wondering, how do I stretch out the front of my chest? You can easily do so here. And the nice thing is that gravity does all the work for you. You kind of get to just lay here. Now we're going to build into one more layer of this stretch. And again, this is optional, but go ahead and bring your hands behind your head. So you don't need to interlace them, just bring them behind your head and point your elbows up to the ceiling. So like your arms are hugging in to your ears. From here, you're going to slowly open up the arms and then close them. And this is gentle. You think like your arms are the flapping wings of a bird. So you're just opening and closing. Again, this might feel a little bit uncomfortable. Don't work into any range that's painful, even if it just means you're moving 1 inch. Hopefully, as we move here, you can go a little bit farther and maybe eventually actually let your elbows rest down on the mat. This is an external rotation position for our shoulder, so it's going to stretch a slightly different angle than what we were just doing. Maybe this angle is looser for you, maybe it's a little bit tighter for you, and that's okay. We'll just notice it for now. We're going to try about 2 more there. And then last time, let your chest open up. Gently, we're going to take our hands out one at a time and roll to your side. So you're going to come off that little towel and push yourself on up to a seated position again. Shake it out. That can be fairly intense if that's the first time you've done something like that. So take a minute, get your center. We're going to use your towel now for another shoulder stretch. So this time, you want to use the length of your towel or your t-shirt to your benefit. We're going to all hold the towel in your right hand and drape the towel over your left shoulder. Okay, so I have the arm in front of me. Now with my left hand, I'm going to reach behind and grab onto the towel. Now right off the bat, this might feel like a stretch for some of you. If you don't feel a stretch, you're going to use your right hand and start to pull the towel down, which is drawing my left hand up my back. That should give you a stretch in the front of your left shoulder. So I'm going to show that again. You guys can just hold it if you got that stretch. The towel goes over your left shoulder. Your left hand comes behind your back and hold on to the end of the towel. With your right hand, you pull until you feel a stretch in your left shoulder. Again, just breathe. Notice if in getting to this stretch, your whole back looks like this. You want to try and draw your rib cage in, stack your spine tall, and open up your chest, just like we were earlier in class. Let's try the other side. So let that go. You're now going to hold the towel in your left hand, drape it over your right shoulder. Your right hand reaches behind your back and holds the towel. So my right palm is facing away from my back. Holding onto the towel, pull up just slightly until you feel a stretch. So from the back, this is what it looks like. And I am much tighter on this side. This is an internal rotation stretch, the opposite direction of what we just did lying on our back. So we're just gonna hold this maybe 30 to 45 seconds each side. It should not be painful. If it's painful, back off a little bit. And we're just holding. Awesome. All right, so let's let go of that towel. We're going to set up next in an all fours position. So hands are going to go directly underneath your shoulders, knees directly underneath your hips. If you have wrist sensitivity, you can do this exercise on your forearms. I'm going to encourage you guys, though, to try and start up on your hands. Sometimes wrist sensitivity is because of weakness in some of the muscles around our wrist. So see if you can build up a little bit of strength and endurance by holding this position. So we're going to work into our shoulder blade muscles again. What I'd like you guys to do is imagine I just put a grape tomato between your shoulder blades. You're going to drop your shoulder blades together to pinch that grape tomato, and then round your upper back and push that grape tomato off your back, dropping your shoulder blades together and pushing them apart. So my elbows are not actually bending. I'm only moving by moving my shoulder blades together and apart. So it's kind of like the scapular clock, but now we have our body weight to work with. Okay, you can have a soft bend in your elbows here and think about grabbing that grape tomato and pushing it away. Now, as you do this, notice if your shoulders started to hike up by your ears. Can you work to lengthen your neck like you're a turtle sort of sticking its head out of its shell, but continue to move the shoulder blades together and apart? You should feel some small muscles starting to work around your shoulder blades. And these are called, these are modified scapular push-ups. Okay, so really nice strengthening for our shoulder joint. Now we're going to settle somewhere halfway in the middle of the two extremes of dropping down and reaching back. From here, notice if your head is really high or really low. Can you make your head extension of the rest of your spine? And that can be kind of hard to do. Holding that position, we're going to reach our right arm out to the side and start to reach overhead and down. So from the front, that looks like I'm reaching in front of me, sideways, tapping my head. So it's hard to look at the camera and have your best neck posture. So I'm going to try and talk you guys through this so that you keep your gaze down just in front of your fingertips. We're going to do 3 more and 2 more. Last time, come on and take a little rest. You can. So that was our snow angel, except this time we had to work against gravity instead of with gravity. So it becomes quite a bit more work. We're going to do the same thing down on the other side. So you can set up once again in your all fours position, drop your shoulder blades together, push them apart, and then settle somewhere right in the middle. When you're comfortable, through the back of your neck, reach your left arm in front and bring it down by your side, open overhead. Down by your side, open overhead. So you're making that same snow angel motion. Your palm is facing down towards the floor for 3 and 2. Last time, bring it down, but stay in this all fours position. We're going to do one more big stretch here for the upper back and neck. So in this position, reach your right arm up to the ceiling. You're going to thread your right hand underneath your left arm and rest your head and neck down on the mat. This is called thread the needle. And then open all the way up again. Try threading your right arm underneath your left. Let your head and neck drop down to the mat. Rest here a moment. And then open up again. I'm going to come take a picture on camera, because this can be a tricky one. Awesome. Laura, sit your body weight backwards towards your hips a little bit more. Yeah, there you go. Good. Awesome, guys. Try just one more on this side, and this is a nice stretch for your upper back. Good. And then we're going to set up for the second side. So plant your right hand down. This time, lift your left arm up to the ceiling. Set your left hand underneath and rest your head, neck, and shoulders down. And then open up. You can follow your hand with your eyes. Notice that my hips are staying stacked over my knees the whole time. So I'm not forward or backwards. I'm staying centered, which helps to make the twisting happen in my upper back. So you guys can try a couple more there. Good. And one more time, come all the way on up to a seated position. So you guys can just take a comfortable seat down on your mat. Now, you may have noticed that we did not do a ton of stretching specific to your neck, and there's a reason for that. So when we look at our spine and how our spine naturally moves, our necks are actually quite flexible. When we have neck pain, it's almost always because our neck is being stressed by some other structure in our body not doing enough. And often that's our shoulders and our upper back. So sometimes you can relieve neck symptoms by actually stretching the upper back and your shoulders. That allows you to have this better posture that takes the pressure off of your neck. And so some of that more extreme neck stretching, that can actually be stressful for our necks because they are already kind of flexible. They don't need this big extra stretch because they really need support from other structures more. Now, I wanted to show you guys one other thing. If you're sort of wondering, okay, well, what's the best posture? How do I know if I'm in the best posture? It's hard for me to see you guys on the screen to say whether you do or don't. So I have a little trick that I like to use, which is standing against a wall. So nothing fancy. I'm going to tip my screen up so you guys can see. Hopefully you can get my head in this picture. So, oops, that's going to be a little too high. Okay. So when you stand up against the wall, and if you guys have a wall accessible to you, you can go ahead and try this right now. You're going to stand with your feet a couple inches in front of the wall. You should feel your bottom up against the wall, your shoulder blades, and the back of your neck. Now, if standing with the back of your neck up against the wall makes it so that your chin goes up, you may need to think about adding a tuck to your chin to push your chin backwards. But finding the wall behind you is a quick, easy way to give you feedback about where your body is in space. So if you need to take a moment throughout your day, go stand against the wall, feel the alignment of the wall behind you. It can give you a lot of feedback about, oh, okay, well, this is actually upright, even though I felt like I was upright before. So my last little tip I want to go over today.
Looks like she's frozen. Okay. Okay, so it looks like we've lost her right now. Give her a few more seconds to see if she's able to reconnect. Nope. Okay, so we have lost her, unfortunately. Oh, she's back.
Sorry about that. Sorry, guys. Okay, do we have time for our last little ergonomics piece?
Yes.
Okay, so when you have your chair set up, you could have the best posture ever. You've got the perfect setup, the perfect chair, but then you've got your laptop and it's down low. No matter how perfect your setup is, you have to look at that screen all day. You're gonna end up slumping over. If you change nothing about your work setup, just getting your screen height to be up around your chest height so that the middle of your eye gaze goes right to the middle of the screen, you've automatically got good posture. Okay, so you don't have to work at it because your eyes, our body really follows where our eyes go. Our eyes are right on that screen in front of us. So you may find that adjustable screens at home don't quite go that high. You might need to put shoe boxes or reams of papers or even textbooks underneath your computer or your laptop to then bump up the height to make it more reasonable for you at home. So I know we covered a lot in a short period of time. Do you guys have any questions that I can answer for you?
Okay, I see Laura has a question.
No, you guys are welcome to type them into the chat too. Oh, Sandhya? Let me unmute you. Hang on one second.
I just unmuted you. You can ask.
Oh, okay.
Any exercise for the double chin to, make it firmer?
That's a great question. We do have these muscles in our neck called the deep neck flexors. You can kind of think of them like your core muscles, and you can train them very similarly to the way that you train your core. So when we were doing that exercise on all fours, holding our head back and not letting our head droop, that's actually an exercise for those deep core muscles. So just by holding good posture, you're exercising those muscles. When we sit kind of like this, that's the opposite of exercising these muscles. That's when they are relaxed. And so I don't recommend doing any kind of weightlifting or anything for your neck. Just practicing good posture can actually help you to build up strength in those muscles.
Okay, thank you so much, Sandhya. Any last questions? No? Okay, so thank you so much, Allie, and thank you guys all for participating. As always with our classes, we love feedback. And so I'm actually going to give you a quick demo of how to leave feedback for Allie and myself in the feedback app. So give me one moment to get that set up for you.